Today, we are diving deep into a company that didn't just join India's digital party. It completely crashed it and rewrote all the rules. We're talking about Jio Platforms.
And this whole story really kicks off with a couple of massive questions. First up, how in the world did a single company get giants like Meta and Google, plus a literal who's who of global investors, to shower it with $20 billion, all in just a few months back in 2020?
And then there's the second question. Why is that very same company now getting ready for what might just be the biggest stock market launch in India's entire history? The answer to all of this starts with the news that's got everyone talking right now.
Yeah, all this new buzz, all this attention, it's because of the whispers and now the roars about its massive upcoming IPO.
Okay, so here's the scoop. Word on the street is that they could file the initial paperwork as soon as early April 2026. And look, let's be clear, this isn't just another IPO. This is being set up to be the largest one India has ever seen. To pull it off, they've brought in a dream team of 17 investment banks. We're talking heavy hitters like Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley. And get this, they're only planning to offer a tiny slice of the company, about 2.5%, which just goes to show you how gigantic the valuation is going to be.
So who exactly is this company that's making such enormous waves? Let's meet the giant.
All right, let's break it down. At its core, Jio Platforms is a tech company, founded back in 2019. Now, it's part of the gigantic Indian conglomerate Reliance Industries. Think of Jio Platforms as a big umbrella. Underneath it, you've got two main things. First, Jio, which is India's #1 mobile network. And second, a whole collection of other digital ventures that Reliance either built from the ground up or bought.
And this chart, well, it tells you everything you need to know about who's backing them. Of course, the parent company, Reliance, has the biggest piece of the pie. But just look at the other names on this list. You've got Meta, Facebook, with almost 10%. Google's got a big stake, over 7.5%. And the rest, it's all split among the world's biggest private equity firms and sovereign wealth funds. That is some serious financial firepower.
So how did they get that all-star lineup of investors? Well, it didn't just happen. It was the result of one of the most incredible, head-spinning fundraising sprees the tech world has ever witnessed.
Just take a look at this timeline from 2020. It was an absolute whirlwind. It all started in April with a jaw-dropping $5.88 billion check from Facebook. The very next month, the floodgates opened and the big private equity players jumped in. By June, massive sovereign wealth funds from the Middle East wanted a piece of the action. And then, to top it all off in July, tech royalty like Intel, Qualcomm, and finally Google came in with huge investments. It was just a nonstop 4-month investment blitz.
And when all the dust finally settled, what was the grand total? Over $20 billion US. And for all that cash, Jio Platforms gave up just under a third of the company. I mean, this is the money that basically strapped a rocket to their ambitions and launched them onto the world stage.
Okay, so what did all that money actually build? What's inside this Jio universe that had the world's smartest investors lining up to get in?
The big thing to grasp here is just how wide their net is. This isn't just a phone company. They've got Jio TV for your shows, Jio Saavn for your music, Jio Mart for groceries, JioMeet for your work calls. What they've built is a total digital ecosystem. The goal? To be a part of pretty much every single thing you do online.
And here's the really smart part. They didn't try to build all of this from scratch. Nope, they went on a strategic shopping spree. You can see right here, they snapped up huge stakes in key companies across the board. An AI chatbot company, an AI education company, an e-commerce company. They were basically buying the technology and the brainpower they needed to grow everywhere, all at once.
So here's maybe the easiest way to think about it. Just imagine a company that's a mashup of your cell phone provider, your favorite streaming service, an online superstore, and a payment app. But it's all one thing, all under one roof. That's the powerful, integrated super app vision they're creating.
But look, an amazing ecosystem like that is nothing without a powerful engine. And for Jio, that engine runs on two kinds of fuel, a ton of money and an even bigger ton of users.
You really can't understand Jio without understanding where it came from, its parent, Reliance Industries. This picture here gives you a sense of their original business, oil and gas. It was the immense profits, the deep pockets from this legacy energy business that gave Jio the capital to build itself up at a speed and scale that almost nobody else on the planet could afford to match.
And this is what all that money and strategy gets you.
As of the third quarter of fiscal year 2026, Jio had over 515 million subscribers. Let that sink in. That's not a user base, that's practically the population of a continent. This incredible scale is the crown jewel, the core asset that makes the whole Jio ecosystem so unbelievably valuable.
And they're not just collecting users, they're making money from them. Their average revenue per user, that's ARPU in business speak, was sitting at about 213 rupees. In simple terms, that's how much cash Jio makes from every single subscriber every single month. It's the number investors watch like a hawk. And on top of everything else, they're still growing fast. In that same quarter, their revenue jumped 12.7% compared to the year before. So it's not just a giant, it's a growing giant.
So that brings us to the big question, what's next? When you've got a massive user base and a digital empire, where do you go from there? You push toward the next frontier. And they are definitely not sitting still. They're making a big push into AI with something called GeoBrain. They're jumping into the satellite internet game to connect even the most remote corners of India. And they even teamed up with Google to create an affordable smartphone, the JioPhone Next, designed for one purpose, to bring even more people into their digital world.
So when you add it all up, the mind-blowing investment, the unbelievable scale, that all-in-one ecosystem, and their ambitions for the future, it all boils down to one final, fascinating question. With its total dominance in one of the world's most important digital markets, is Jio on a path to becoming India's very first truly global tech superpower? Only time will tell, but it's going to be fascinating to watch.